And I am outside. I have to accept people walk past. Irritating. Yes, how is everybody? I hope you're having a fantastic day. It looks like it's about to poop it down with rain, so I will try and make this rather rapid. It is bloody cold as well. So, today is primarily about changing your job. If a lot of people say to me, I can't leave my job, it's really good pay, it's this, it's that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, but are you happy? Do you enjoy the people you work with? Do you enjoy working with the people that you work with? And do you enjoy your job? No. So why are you there? Because it's good money and I need the money. Now, this is something that I massively agree with. For mental health, going somewhere that you really don't want to go to on a daily basis and seeing people that you don't want to see on a daily basis is really damning for your social media, your home life, just absolutely everything. And the reason for this is because you will get frustrated at the place of business that you don't want to be at, and then you will take it out on the people that are closest to you. So it's like if you have an argument at work and then come home and have an argument at home, it's like, why surround yourself with something that you really hate just for money? Now, I understand that people can't just uplift a job whenever they see fit because of mortgages and car payments and phones, and I understand that you can't just up and leave, but I really highly do I do really highly recommend that you look at the position that you're in and think, why am I here? So, let me actually get the facts up. Okay, so over 60% of the population worldwide hate their job and they don't like it for some reason. Now, 70% of people who are currently employed are drug addicts or alcoholics because they hate their job and they don't want to be there. So the only way they can get through the day is by doing drugs or drinking loads. And so yeah, there's 70% of people who are currently employed openly admitting they're alcoholics or drug addicts because of how depressed their job makes them. And this comes back to depression and anxiety, and it's going to make it worse. If you like me, suffered with depression, and the last thing you want to do is get out of bed, the worst thing you're going to want to do is get out of bed to go to a place that you hate for 9 hours to come home to get back in bed again. Move, change jobs. This is my recommendation. Now, for an example, my uncle, he worked at Barclays. He was quite high up in Barclays. He earned a stupid amount of money with bonuses and blah blah blah. But he absolutely hated his job, hated everything about it, and hated going to work, hated coming home. And when COVID hit and he had to work at home, it was the worst thing you could ever bloody think about. So what he decided to do was leave the bank and become a groundsman. Extremely different vocation. He became a groundsman at his local golf club, and he loves it, absolutely loves it. I don't want to butcher how old he is. If you watch this, I apologise, but I'm going with at 45 years of age, he has wife, 2 kids, completely uplifted himself for his mental health because he was depressed and I'm sure very anxious about going to work, and nobody wants to go there. Nobody wants to go somewhere where they don't want to be. So this is how I know it's possible no matter what situation you're in. I have done it, and this is why a lot of people come to me and they ask, why do you work in the place that you do work? And I work there because I can cycle to work, and it's a beautiful, picturesque location, and I knew some of the people there. I got offered 8 jobs. Well, I applied for 6, I got offered 2. So I had 8 job options before I went back to this place of business. And I turned them all down to ask my friend for a job. and she said, yeah, when can you start, blah, blah, blah. No interview needed, nothing. And the reason I did this, it's away from all my friends, apart from one, and it's completely separate. It's in the middle of the forest. I mean, it's absolutely beautiful location, but it was the lowest paying of all of the 8 jobs. In the end, it actually, because I got promoted twice, I actually ended up earning more money than I would have done in the other places. So you see how things work out. But primarily I started working there because it was in the middle of the forest. It is fantastic, and I need to be outside and not surrounded by lots of, you say, kids, because my other job opportunities were in a city, and they were in like clubs and pubs and bars and like real like heavy youth congregation, and I don't particularly like that. I like the older folk, and I'll be honest, I do, because they have got some fantastic stories, and I prefer stories like that than some pisshead falling off a balcony and landing in a pool and I think it was funny. I don't know. I find it more funny them telling me about the pheasants they've shot. Good fun. So yeah, that's the reason I chose it, is because I could cycle there. Primarily, I was able to ride my push bike, which is absolutely fantastic. It's not massively far from my house as well. And it was outside. It was the only one that was, I mean, it is a pub, so I was inside a lot, but there was also outside. And I remember in the summertime, I was outside all the time, running around 30,000 steps a day, absolutely bonkers. But that's me. That's a little bit of me. I like being outside. The more I can be outside, the better. Like, I'm cold, but I'm outside because I like it. It's just better than being sat inside, I think. So that's my personal choice, and that's why I took the lowest paying job without any of my friends, because I wanted time for myself, completely just time to, on the cycle there and the cycle home. Like, I had all of that time, that it was extra exercise, loads and loads of different things. I don't do very well if I don't move for a prolonged period of time, so the most I could do is sat down for one day watching movies. That's it. If I am sat down for longer than, if I don't get out of the house in a 24-hour period, I literally like seize up like a machine. And it's horrible. No matter how much Pilates I do, I need to move. Physically need to move. But I will say, when I was depressed and anxious and I couldn't move, when I started moving again, I didn't want to move. Right, and this is absolutely fantastic. There's a YouTube video called Fit to Fat and Back, and it's about a really renowned personal trainer out in America who is ripped, 6-pack, absolutely amazing, and he purposely gains 30 pounds of fat, stops training, and then loses it all again and gets really, really ripped. And he said the hardest part of his entire journey was getting the motivation to want to train. Exactly the same for me, to get out of bed and to get back in the gym, or not even getting in the gym, getting out of bed and going for a walk was probably the hardest thing I ever did. But I really stuck to it, and I really, for a week, I went for just a 10-minute walk. That's all it was, just a quick 10-minute walk every morning, and it was amazing. The first week was horrible, absolutely horrible. It's just like it was absolutely horrible, and so but it helped. It really helped, and get moving. This is what I really, really recommend to people, is just move. You've just got to move. And that's another reason as well I picked the job I did, because it was so much moving around. The garden is humongous, it's absolutely beautiful, and so you are running around a lot. And I have had jobs where you don't burn lots of calories, and I'll tell you what, that is a problem. If you have a desk job, I feel so bad for you. I really do. Get a standing desk is what my recommendation for that. But the reason I like moving a lot at work is because then I don't have to come home and move. Like, if you've run or walked 30,000 steps delivering food and carrying people's drinks, and you've hit the gym in the same day, you do not have to lift a finger for the rest of the day. It's microwave meals and pizzas, honestly. And that's why I like work as much as you physically can in the day, and then don't. So when I was a chippy, I on average did about 5 to 10,000 steps a day, and if I hit 10,000 steps before I got home, I was really fortunate. So because the workload, the physical cardio based workload was a lot less, however, being a chippy, lifting big heavy rafters and ceiling joists and floorboards and, you know, plywood and sheet material, like anything like that, obviously is a lot more, it's a lot more physical moving. So not necessarily that you burn as many calories as you do running around all day. So what I'd have to do as a chippy is I'd have to come home and walk to the gym, which is about 6,000 there and back. I'd have to walk. I didn't have a choice. If I wanted to hit my 10,000 steps and I wanted to lose the weight that I wanted to lose and build the muscle that I wanted to build and eat the food I wanted to eat, I had to move that much. And that's just my personal opinion. I like moving. The more I move, the more I get to eat. And I love food, and I'm sure you're all the same. If you love food, move more. Calories in, calories out, really simple. And yeah, but that primarily, that is why I work in a place like that, because it's outside, you get to move, you get to meet nice people, you can cycle there, you know, it's completely up to you how much exercise you do in a day. So like, for me, on leg day, I would just cycle there, run around and cycle home. That was my leg day done. Because, you know, if you so I believe it's about 7 miles there, 7 miles home, and it's all big hills. It would take me about 40 minutes to cycle the 7.5 miles over really bumpy ground. And there was a shortcut actually that wouldn't, I think that was about 5 miles instead. It was a lot flatter, but you had just 2 big hills. You basically had to go up onto a ridge, over the ridge, and then down off the ridge. But that was all through the country, whereas the 7 mile routes are along the road. So if you're not happy in your job, in your day-to-day life, change your job, and you will be so surprised at how much of the rest of your life it will change. Because, back to my uncle for another prime example, I remember a year ago, like just seeing him at Christmas time, and you know when you just see someone and you can just look in their eyes and you're just like, there's something wrong, isn't there? There's something really wrong, and you know, you just, maybe they didn't know what it was, maybe he didn't know what it was at the time, but now I've seen him, like I saw him in the street the other day, and he's just glowing all the time, because you know, he's excited to go to work and he's excited to come home to tell his wife about the fun grass that he mowed. I don't know what he does, if I'm going to be honest. I know he keeps the ground. Oh dear, but you get what I mean, innit? Like, he you know, so much happier, and like me as well. Like when I was a chippy, I was working with my dad, and obviously when you work, if you've ever worked with a parent, it's one hell of an experience. It really is. Boss or not boss, like working with a parent in any description is interesting. Obviously me and dad would have natural arguments, and so from there we both have thought, no, you know, I want multiple days off a week now anyway, because you know, he is a pensioner, unfortunately he's old, and I needed a lot more money than I was able to get there. So I, you know, called my friend and went back to the pub. Called my friend and went back to the pub because I knew it would be good fun, and that's what I needed in my life. You know, having for a year or 2 years, having worked as a chippy, private, self-employed with my dad, you don't meet anybody really. Like, I met one nice guy, and that's it. Whereas at the pub, I met, you know, you meet hundreds and hundreds of people and you make friends, and it's so much of a different environment, and that's what I really like, is that different environment, meeting lots of people all the time. And that's what I recommend to you. You know, get out. I know if you're socially anxious, if you get working in the hospitality trade, your social anxiety will dissipate. It took me a year of working behind the bar for me to be able to just run up to strangers and talk to them. And I'm not saying that might happen for you, but it might be a fantastic shift. It's hard and it's scary. Believe me, I know that, but it might be the best decision you've ever made in your entire life. You don't know unless you try. Have a very good day, have a very good week. I shall see you next week. I don't know what we're discussing next week. Something. Right, let's go.